Here's a throw by Merton. It is a collision at the plate. And Pierzynski not only bangs into Barrett, bangs onto the plate, and here they go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this week's episode of the Crosstown Baseball Podcast. He's Matt Cannon, I'm Kevin Sullivan, and we are very excited to be with you here this week. Some exciting things to look at for both the Cubs and the White Sox. This week we will get started with the White Sox, so I will go ahead and turn it over to my buddy Matt.
Well, I was really hoping to talk about 3 series wins in a row because as of this recording, it is currently Sunday night. But alas, I can talk about 2 series wins in a row and 1 very tough series loss to the Washington Nationals. But the highlight of the week was, of course, Murakami's home run streak. 4 games in a row with, some of them were bombs. Some of them were, just flicks of the wrist that went 415 feet. Like, this guy is on fire right now. And he's by far the most exciting player to wear a White Sox uniform in years. And you may see me with a Murakami jersey before the end of the week.
Okay, wait. Here's my question on that. Because he is signed to only a 2-year deal and the White Sox don't really look like they're going to be competitive in the division or the playoffs potentially, do you think he could get traded this year?
I think if the Sox falter and are 20 to 30 games below 500 by the All-Star break, like we're talking, 2024, 2025 levels, there is a possibility, and Sox fans would be furious about it. Yeah. But I would almost understand why, because his trade value is so high. That being said, I don't think it's going to happen. Chris Getz did come out and say that there are no extension talks going on as of right now. And truthfully, there should not be extension talks, less than a month into the season, because he could suck for the rest of the year, but
right.
I don't think he's going to. Is there a possibility he's traded over the offseason? Sure. I really hope he's not. I really hope he maintains at least somewhat his level of production, and maybe we can get him to a long-term deal because he is exciting. He seems to enjoy being here. The rest of the players seem to love having him. But yes, some wins would be good to silence any worry about him being traded.
I feel like they would at least have to consider it if they're not looking like they're going to be good this season and he continues to hit like he has been. His value.
You have to hear teams, absolutely.
Yeah. Just don't trade him to the Dodgers, for the love of God.
Oh my God. Yeah. I think there would be a riot if Chris Getz trades him, truthfully. I'm not saying it won't happen because I would understand it from a business sense. Mm-hmm. But he's keep him on the team. We need something, man. We need something. Give me something. It's been a long few years. I want someone I can buy a jersey for. I want someone when I'm watching the team on TV that oh, Murakami's coming up to bat. I'm not gonna go to the bathroom yet.
Right. A showstopper.
Exactly. So I will enjoy the ride as long as it lasts, knowing full well that train may crash, and at any point. So
yeah.
See. But yes, good series win against the A's. Good series win against the D-backs, and then even against the Nats. Good win in the opener and 2 really tough losses. I didn't watch yesterday's game, but I watched today's game, and Sean Burke pitched a hell of a game. I think 8 and a third shutout innings, and then I think he gave up a run, and then we lost it in extras. But again, if the losses are coming, keep them competitive. I think that's the biggest difference between these White Sox losses now and the White Sox losses in 2024, 2025, and even the first week of this season. So things are looking up. Reese McGuire was DFA'd this week, and we brought up Drew Romo. This is interesting because when we signed Reese McGuire to a major league contract, and we sent Corey Lee down to the minors, that was a bit of a head scratcher for everyone. And then now we're not bringing Corey Lee back up. So it's kind of like, 1.5 million or something wasted for less than a month of the season. These are the type of moves that Chris Getz has made that make me and others question, like, do you know what you're doing?
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of been said that when he got this job, and he was assistant GM, he worked in the Royals organization as well. Would the other 29 teams hire Chris Getz as a general manager?
Right.
Probably not.
Well, Jerry, we all know that Jerry, with the White Sox and the Bulls, does not hire people with previous experience, at least as like the head guy.
Yeah. And I mean, this is the type of things that happen. I was like, I just don't know if I see another GM making that sort of decision. But anyway, Drew Romo's up. And we really need some catching help. Edgar Caro has not been great. And unfortunately, Kyle Teal's rehab has been delayed. He is having some issues running still, apparently, and it's a hamstring. So, I mean, listen, I am very happy they are not going to rush him back. That being said, Edgar Caro has kind of been a big disappointment, at least for this first month. And he was someone that we were really lucky to have him and Teal as options. Very happy we did not trade Kyle Teal over the offseason because you did have some people saying, well, we have Edgar Caro. So the sooner Teal gets back, the better. But I'm glad they're not rushing him back.
You don't want to rush a hamstring for sure.
No, it's just never good. And God, the White Sox, I mean, ask any White Sox fan, whenever a star player is running to first base, we always just clench our butts because you know how many times, like, just on a casual jog to first base, that like these star players got hurt. I mean, I'm thinking of Robert Moncada, Anderson. I remember Nick Madrigal went down when we had him before we traded into the Cubs. I remember we traded into the Cubs, he was injured from a hamstring injury.
Yep. And he had more of those problems with the Cubs too.
Yes. So I just always, hold my breath. And so I just want him to be back and at 100%. Preview for this upcoming week. We will be at home against the Angels, and then we head out to San Diego to take on the Padres with possibly old friend Lucas Giolito, which I know we will talk about because we brought him up a few times on this podcast.
The Cubs could see him too, potentially, because they're also playing the Padres in San Diego this week.
Angels are not a train wreck of a team right now, but I want that series to be competitive. And the Padres are a good team. But I don't know. We've been, again, it's not like the wins have been piling up, but the losses have been competitive. So things can go our way. We just need to hit a little better in scoring position. We need to, lock down the back half of the bullpen a little bit more. And I am casually and cautiously optimistic for the next few weeks. But yeah, that is my White Sox weekly report. I was hoping to come in with 3 series wins in a row. I will settle for 2. It is certainly better than where we have been for the last few years.
Yeah. I mean, they look decent at times. They don't look like they're the laughing stock of the league anymore. So that's progress. Yeah.
And last night, by the way, was their biggest April crowd since 2007.
Wow.
For all of the Cub fans out there that keep attendance numbers. Part of it was a really good White Sox City Connect jacket giveaway.
Oh, I was just about to ask what the giveaway was.
Yeah, it was very, very cool. And even today's attendance was pretty good. But, again, we've had some good giveaways the last few years too, and we haven't gotten anywhere close to that. So it was also a beautiful day outside yesterday.
Yeah, that also helps for sure. What would you say is their biggest weakness right now, this team?
It's a tie between the bullpen and the lack of hitting with runners in scoring position, because they get runners in scoring position. Like, there's a good amount of people that get on base and then they are just not able to knock him in. I mean, I think I read last night it was like something like 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position. competition. It's just like you're putting away some easy wins if you just get one or two more hits.
Mm-hmm.
And that type of thing makes me feel better about the future, because sometimes that evens itself out. So we'll see. Again, cautiously optimistic. You may play this podcast back in September, and we might have a big laugh about it. But right now, I am cautiously optimistic for not a winning season, but if we can get that like 70 win season, I would be. I mean, I'm not gonna be happy, but I'm gonna be not miserable, let's say.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Maybe at the end of the season, we'll stitch together a video of our worst takes from throughout the
Yeah,
season.
exactly.
It'll be like a little blooper reel.
Yeah. Yes, and yeah, my Blue Jays prediction might be a bad one right now, but we'll talk about that.
I'm still digging my Paul Skeens one.
That's right.
I'm still digging that one. I think it has some legs. So
That's
we'll
right.
see. But
All right,
so
well,
that
that's
was
it
good.
for the Southsiders for me.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you for that report, Matt. We appreciate it. So then we'll move on to the Northsiders and the Cubs over the past week. It has been a very good week as a Cubs fan over the past week. They had a 10-game winning streak, which ended Saturday, unfortunately, against the Dodgers, which I kind of expected. I mean, it is the Dodgers. They're really good. Unfortunately, they did lose 2 of 3 in that series. But it's great to see that the Cubs are finally hitting their stride. The pitching has been really good despite all the injuries. The offense has really taken a step forward finally. Dansby Swanson's hitting, Nico's hitting. PCA is starting to hit a little bit. He's not, treading 200 batting average anymore. Seems to be settling in a bit. Bregman has had some nice homers recently. Seiya has looked good. So, the Cubs are finally hitting their stride offensively, and that's really great to see. It's been a very up and down start to the year for the Cubs, and I think they have some pretty high expectations as to how well they should do this year.
Well, they
People.
could just play the Phillies every day. That would be great.
Yeah, yeah, apparently, except for Kyle Schwarber. I don't want to play
Right.
Kyle Schwarber every day.
Right.
I feel like he just tees off on the Cubs whenever they play each other.
He's
I think
yeah,
he's,
you could tell he's got his personal little vendetta against them, and who can blame him, truthfully.
I don't blame him because that was arguably the worst move that Theo Epstein ever made while he was in charge of the Cubs was letting Kyle Schwarber just walk for nothing, just non-tendering him. But yeah, so they
But
had,
yeah, you can't be upset at a winning streak like that, being, and losing the series against the Dodgers in Los Angeles. I mean, like, as a Cubs fan, you got to be pretty satisfied with that result.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, they got 2 wins against the Phillies, then swept the Mets over 3, and then swept the Phillies over 4 at home before winning 1 game against the Dodgers. So they beat some pretty decent teams. I mean, the Mets are not great. I don't know what's going on with the
Well, yeah,
Mets.
Mets and Phillies are both like in free fall right now. So,
Yeah, I
but
could see the Phillies having a fire sale this season. I
there
just don't see them being competitive.
there was a rumor, and it was, I mean, we can talk about it, later, because we're going to talk about the Red Sox, cleaning house. But Bob Nightingale did report that there's a possibility that Alex Cora could be managing again by the end of the week, because apparently the Phillies might fire their manager and hire Alex Cora. I don't really know why they would do that, but it's a possibility.
What about the Mets? The Mets could do that too.
Yeah, the Mets.
Carlos Mendoza, his days are numbered, I think.
Yeah, I mean, how could you not? How could I mean, yeah. Anyway, back to the Cubs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we could talk all day about other teams losing.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. But the pitching seems to be surviving, which is good. They're still trying to get some guys back. Daniel Palencia, their closer, is still on the IL. And unfortunately, they did add another pitcher to the IL this week in the form of Caleb Thielbar, who is their substitute closer. So now we've lost the closer and the backup closer. So this is not going great in terms of health for the Cubs. I don't know how many more pitchers they can lose before it's like too many.
Yeah, I mean, and who is in their farm system that they can bring up? Like, who did they bring up with for him?
Well, they have like Jackson Wiggins, but he's injured also. He's like their top pitching prospect, and he's also injured. They've done a lot of shuffling back and forth. They've brought up some guys who I don't even know who they are. I think they sent another pitcher down. Oh, they brought up Nicky Lopez this past week, former
Oh,
White Sox Nicky Lopez and
Naperville,
Chicagoland
right?
native. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, Naperville
Naperville
native
Nicky.
Nicky Lopez is back on the Cubs, but he's an infielder. He's not a pitcher. So
That's the kitty pitch. Yeah.
yeah, at this rate, they're gonna have to do like seriously, who can pitch this game?
Well,
Um,
listen, the good news is that the Cubs are winning despite all of these injuries. And so when they get these guys back, theoretically, those that are going to be able to come back, they're going to be in a better position. So,
mhm.
that's kind of all you can hope for with this.
And one thing I do have to say is they, where was I going with this? I just had a thought. Oh man, it just went out of my head.
We're getting
Damn.
old, Kevin. We're in our 30s.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like
I guess
this
so.
is our life now.
I guess, yeah. Oh man, it sucks getting old. But they have looked good. They're staying. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. Their defense, especially, has looked really good. Nico Horner made a play a few days ago where it went off the first baseman's glove, deflected directly to him, and he barehanded it to first to the pitcher. Just got him. Like it was an incredible play. And I personally I love Nico Horner. He is just a fantastic baseball player. He's not flashy. He doesn't put up massive power numbers, but he is a five-tool player. He gets on base. He plays amazing defense. It seems like he's a good clubhouse guy. Like all the guys seem to like him. I'm really impressed with Nico Horner, and I think he validates that extension every time he takes the field, honestly.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, I have no argument against that. And
yeah.
yeah, I mean, every team could use a player like Nico Honer, truthfully.
Yeah, and even like Seiya
Cubs have
Suzuki,
him.
he threw out a guy going to third from like pretty close to the right field warning track this past week. Yeah, the defense is clicking for sure. As long as the bats can stay alive and the pitching can survive, they should
So,
be.
watching the games, would you say Craig Counsell is finally earning his big paycheck?
Yes, I like Craig Counsell. I think he's a very cerebral manager, and I think he does know how to manage the game well. That being said, I do want to see results here at some point. Like the Cubs got to make it to like an NLCS or a World Series eventually. Because do I think Craig Counsell is a significantly better? I think he's a better manager than David Ross. Would I say he's amazingly better? Not necessarily. He hasn't won anything yet. He's never won a pennant. He's never won a World Series. I think he won the division a few times. Yeah, he did. He won the division a few times with the Brewers. Um,
He's made it.
and
I mean, he
like,
made it to an NLCS with them. Yeah.
yeah, he made it to an NLCS. He's won playoff series, but like at a certain point, it's got to be we win big things. The Cubs win a National League pennant. They win a World Series. I do think he's earned what he's being paid. Um, I think it took a little bit of an adjustment to get there. I think it was so unexpected that the Cubs were going to get rid of David Ross and bring in Craig Counsell that I honestly think that the team, I think there was a bit of a culture shock because they were most likely preparing for David Ross to come back, and then all of a sudden one day it's like, nope, we're getting rid of him and we're bringing in Craig Counsell like out of nowhere.
I mean,
Um,
Rick Renteria all over again.
Literally, yeah, it is like it is like that same scenario. I'm glad they did it. There are some times where I question what he's doing out there, but I got to give the guy a chance and see how he does on the biggest stages. The Brewers can never get past that point. Maybe the Cubs can.
Yeah.
These injuries are certainly not going to help. So looking ahead to next week, as we already kind of mentioned, the Cubs also play the Padres this week. right before the White Sox. The Padres have a very Chicago week
Are
on
you
their
playing
hands.
them at home or in San Diego?
Away, yeah.
Okay, so they're playing back to back Chicago teams. That's funny.
Yeah, yeah, that is kind of cool that they're hosting the Cubs and Sox back to back. So they'll play the Padres. Might see Lucas Giolito, who the Cubs were rumored to be in on, but ultimately did not land, unfortunately. And then they go to Arizona, I believe, to play the Diamondbacks. Um, Diamondbacks, they're decent. I wouldn't say they're anything special. The Dodgers and the Padres, I feel like are the top teams in that division. Um, so yeah, it'll be an interesting week for the Cubs going out west. It's a nice little West Coast swing. They sometimes struggle with those in years past, and obviously they lost 2 or 3 to the Dodgers already. So it'll be interesting to see how this week plays out. By the time this episode airs, they will be mostly through that series with the Padres. So hopefully, they can get some wins there and get it going again after losing 2 straight, after winning 10 straight here in April. So a decent start to the Cubs. They're definitely back in the mix for the division, which I would say the NL Central right now is the best division in baseball.
I think you texted me a few days ago like the standings, and I was actually pretty shocked. I really had no idea how competitive everyone was at this moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's again, it is the end of April right now. There's a lot of baseball left to play. Some teams will fall off, some teams will pull ahead. But the Cubs have a good chance as any in that division right now, especially if they can navigate these injuries.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. The division's wide open right now. I only a few games separates first to last, and I feel like that's how it's a competitive division. So it'll be fun to watch for sure. Hopefully the Cubs can make it out of there
We'll see.
with most of their players.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Well, cool. Any other Cubs news, Kevin?
No, I think that'll do it for the Cubs recap. So we can move on to MLB as a whole now. Some exciting stuff going on this week around the league. First and foremost, it looks like the Kansas City Royals have finalized a deal to build a new stadium in downtown Kansas City. So they will be leaving the Coffin Stadium, also known as the K, which is located pretty It's like outside Kansas City. It's kind of on an
It's
island.
it's it's yeah, it's an island of parking lots and highways, as I understand.
Yeah,
Yes. Those renderings look gorgeous
yeah, they do. It's
for that stadium.
it would be great for the Royals. It'd be great for Kansas City. It'd be great for the
Well, because they're
league.
losing the. I didn't even realize because I don't, as you know, I'm a baseball guy first and foremost. I get left behind on some NFL news. I did not realize the Chiefs were leaving Kansas City, Missouri, and going to Kansas
There,
City, Kansas.
they are. Yep. So I
So
think
that's
that's
a big loss.
that. Yeah, that's a huge loss for sure. They're going to be building a dome stadium in Kansas City, Kansas. That was a big loss for the Kansas City, Missouri side, and I think that's what pushed the Kansas City government to ultimately get this deal done because they did not want to lose the Royals also to the Kansas
No,
side.
no. So no, that ballpark, if it's anything like those renderings, it's going to look beautiful.
Yeah,
And
and and it gives the
I was gonna say
sorry.
I really want to try to get the Kaufman before it closes, but even if I can't, I cannot wait to try to get to the new stadium.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks beautiful. I've been to Kauffman Stadium once. It was in 2007. It was before they renovated it. So I've wanted to go back, but now I might just wait for this brand new stadium at this
Right.
point and see what that's like. But yeah, it does look cool. It's going to be built in what's called Crown Center in Kansas City, Missouri, and they're actually partnering with the Hallmark Card Company to build this stadium because I think it's also going to include a corporate headquarters for Hallmark, which is based in Kansas City.
That is a crazy combination. I love it.
Isn't it? Apparently, Hallmark was instrumental in designing the crown logo for the Royals at one
Wow.
point. Yeah, I had
Okay.
no idea.
Great. Awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So that'll be
Um,
cool. Very happy to see, especially for a smaller market team. I think this will really help them be a little bit more competitive, hopefully, especially if they have like a ballpark village around it. As I think we mentioned earlier.
I'm okay with them not being as competitive, by the way.
Yeah. The White Sox fan doesn't want them to be super competitive. I'm okay with them being competitive. I want to see Bobby Witt get some wins and
That's
not be
fair.
on a terrible team.
That's fair.
The Red Sox, the Boston Red Sox, who have gotten off to a pretty rough start this season, dismissed 5 coaches, including manager Alex Cora from the coaching staff this week. They also included former Red Sox World Series hero Jason Varitek was one of the casualties of that. Very surprised. Well, actually, not that surprising. The Red Sox have been a bit of a dumpster fire over the past few years. But that's a big change to be making. I think 27 games into the season is what they said.
I mean, I was all over Red Sox Twitter and Reddit yesterday when this broke. I mean, everyone is thrilled.
Mhm.
People were clamoring for this for a long time. You know, when you win a World Series as a manager, you're given, I think, far more leeway and probably a far more number of years than you would otherwise. Because Alex Cora, obviously, 2018 they were excellent, and then he got suspended for the one season, and then came back. I mean, ever since he came back from the suspension, they have not been a good team.
No.
And I'm thinking of like Davey Martinez with the Nationals, and even speaking of the Royals, like Ned Yost with the Royals, like the managers that win World Series with your teams. I think it's tough to let them go when it's time to let them go. And Alex Cora, I think, overstayed his welcome. I'll actually give the Cubs credit because I actually think Joe Madden like left at the right time.
Hmm.
Uh, and Ned Yost overstayed his welcome. So Davey Martinez definitely overstayed his welcome. Wasn't he just let go like last year or the year before?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. He was there a long time. So was
yeah,
Brandon Hyde in Baltimore.
yeah, and he didn't even win a World Series, but he was on a successful Orioles team. So
Right.
I give the Red Sox credit, and John Henry's owned that team for a long, long time. I don't I don't sympathize with Red Sox fans when they clamor that they've been through so much. I think you and I have discussed it. You got 4 World Series championships in the century. Like, you know,
Like,
I
shut up.
understand they're not great every year. It would be great if they were a contender every single year, but like, cry me a river. Sorry.
Right. Right. Boston sports fans in general, I have no sympathy for. They've
Yeah.
won so many championships in our lifetime compared to like us as Chicago sports fans.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, they have more World Series than the Yankees this century. I mean,
Isn't that insane?
that's insane, and they should be thrilled about that. I'm sure they are. But
Yeah.
so listen, good for John Henry and the team. I did read that a lot of the players found out about these changes like on social media, and they did have an all-team meeting and were pretty much just told to not ask questions, and
Yeah.
you get paid to play baseball type things. Um, that's not great. That's not a great look. I'm sure everyone is very frustrated. Alex Cora has also been like posting on Instagram, kind of like, he posted like a picture of like all the coaches getting on their plane leaving. Like,
Yeah.
just kind of interesting stuff.
Very cryptic stuff.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think
It's
he retweeted something or like posted something about like that team really traded Mookie Betts or something like that.
it's like wild to think about. I mean, the Red Sox were, the top of the class for so long when they had Theo Epstein and even Judd Hoyer. And they have fallen just so far, it seems like. You're right, in the past like 8 years, I would say.
Well,
The
it is
Red
the
Sox.
Dave Dombrowski effect. I know he's with the Phillies now, but like, and I think you and I discussed this last week of Dombrowski will promise a World Series team, or at least a World Series contending team, but I'm going to wreck your farm system to do it.
Yeah.
Spend money. And for the Red Sox, it worked out, but they are still kind of paying that price. Now, then they also made really stupid decisions like trading Mookie Betts for a bag of balls and even like trading Rafael Devers, things like that. So
Yeah.
it's not just Dombrowski's fault, but they are still feeling the effects of that, I think.
I still don't understand the Mookie Betts trade. I still like, what do you? He is an elite
And
player. He's
didn't
a
he
Hall
like
of Famer.
immediately sign an extension with the Dodgers?
Oh, like immediately,
Like
immediately.
immediately. I,
Yeah,
I just that to me is the most insane trade of the last 15 years.
yeah, yeah. I would
Um,
agree.
because
I'll have to look back to see what they
it's
got.
not like a small market team. It's not like the freaking Rays or even the Royals or the Twins trading away a superstar because they can't afford him. You're the freaking Boston Red Sox.
Right.
You like have
You can
some
afford it.
respect. So like
Yeah.
I sympathize with Red Sox fans feeling that. At the same time, I'm sure all of the Red Sox fans that, swore to whatever God they believe in that if they just win this World Series, I will never ask for anything again. Uh, well, here you go.
Yeah. Well, that's coming due now, so you get what you pay for.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It's very surprising. So it'll be interesting to see how the Red Sox season goes from here. A couple other notes. Trey Savage, who was very key for the Blue Jays in getting to the World Series last year, will be returning this week to their rotation. Another team that has just been decimated by injuries and also some poor performance. I was looking at Max Scherzer's numbers, and he is not looking good so far this season. It might be the end of the road for him potentially.
Yeah, and I don't think John Schneider's going to be fired, especially after leading the team, to, one out of the World Series last year. But I mean, that team is really underperforming,
Yeah.
and they were my pick. Sorry, probably my fault. Um,
Oh, come on, Matt.
yeah, so maybe this will help because they are
Yeah.
on paper they are still a very good team
Oh,
and should
yeah.
be very competitive.
Yeah, absolutely. They just might need to tweak some things here and there. I mean, they lost Bo Bichette.
Yeah,
That's a big loss.
yeah.
I don't know how he's really doing with the Mets, but I assume not that great since
I
the Mets
assume nobody
suck.
on the Mets doing that great.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll just assume that. I don't have the numbers in front of me. Let's see what else we got. Paul Skeens has been returning to form. His ERA is just a little over 2 now, when at one point after his first start, it was 67.
Right.
So Paul Skeens is back, everyone. I think like most players, I do think he had a bit of a World Baseball Classic hangover. And I think that's why he got roughed up on opening day against the Mets. It's probably the only time the Mets have looked good this season.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's good to see, and obviously it keeps my preseason prediction intact that Paul Skeens will start a playoff game sometime this year.
I mean, listen again, as we said, the NL Central is super competitive, and
Yeah,
he keeps going like that. It's there's certainly a good shot.
yeah. Another Pirates note: I saw Connor Griffin turn 20 this week, and then immediately hit his first home run of his career. So had to wait until he was out of the teens to get that one done. But I
When
think he's
you
going
and
to be
I were
good.
20, we were not doing that.
No, we were not playing Major League Baseball, that's for sure.
No.
Yeah, so
So
I think
good for
that's
him.
fair. And then on a happy note, former Cincinnati Reds, Cleveland Indians, Atlanta Braves. I think he was on was he on the Dodgers too? He was on like
Dodgers, like
another
was
team.
he maybe the Brewers? I don't remember.
He was on a few teams at the end of his career, but Brandon Phillips, former major leaguer, signed a 1-day deal with the Cincinnati Reds to officially retire from baseball. He has not appeared in MLB since 2018. He did bounce around a little bit. I think he played for some independent ball teams until 2022. But he is hanging it up officially for calling it a career. I remember him from those good Reds teams in
Yeah.
like the early 2010s, with him and Joey Votto.
Yeah.
I really liked Brandon Phillips. He played some really great defense. Seemed like a really personable guy, one of those guys who made baseball more fun. So it's sad to see his career end, but it sounds like he's at peace with it. So we wish him nothing but the best moving forward. Obviously, what would you
Yeah.
say
So
your memories are of him?
he hasn't appeared in an MLB game since 2018. That's what you said.
I think that's what it said, 2018. Yeah.
How old is he? Because like he was one of those players that like kind of felt old for
Yeah.
years. Um,
Yeah.
I
Um,
and it's if he hasn't appeared since 2018, this is like a really long gap because usually you see these like 1-day retirement things after a few years or you know something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Now I'm curious. I'm not sure. Let's see here.
I mean, because he, as you said, he was instrumental in those um, early, 2010s Reds, you know, teams, and like so, yeah. So I mean, according to this, yeah, last MLB appearance September 30th, 2018 for the Boston Red Sox. He
Oh, he was
is
on the Red Sox.
currently
That's
he's
it.
currently 44, so he's pretty old. Um,
Okay. But
and
that means he's stopped. You said he's 40 now?
he's 44 now.
Oh, he's 44. Okay. So his last appearance was when he was 36
So like
or
kind of
37.
a average MLB retirement age, it feels like.
Hmm.
But that being said, I'm very happy that he gets to have his moment with the Reds. Um, a franchise like the Reds that has not had a lot of recent success, I'm sure those fans value those early 2010s teams really, really highly. With him and Votto, like you said, and um, Brunson Arroyo. That type of team.
Homer Bailey.
Homer Bailey, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Johnny Cueto. Edinson
Oh my
Volquez.
god, yeah, I love Johnny Cueto on the Reds. Uh, so yeah, I remember him always being a thorn in team sides, and I'm happy that he, even 8 years later, gets to have his moment with his OG team.
Definitely. And just some highlights of his career. Three-time All-Star, four-time Gold Glover, a Silver Slugger Award, and he finished with over 2,000 hits in his career and over 1,000
Wow,
runs scored.
that's actually I had no idea. That's
Yeah.
very impressive.
Yeah, I could, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer by any means, but like he could get a number or maybe like Reds Hall of Fame induction, maybe a team Hall of Fame type
Yeah,
thing.
definitely.
He was pretty solid for them, and he played there for a long time, from 2006 until 2016. He was with the Reds, so
Wow,
a
I
good
see.
decade.
Again, it's like I guess I associate him with the like 2010s teams. I had no idea that he was there so long.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember he was traded from Cleveland to Cincinnati. I don't remember who went the other way, but one of those
Wow.
rare interstate rival trades.
Right.
But yeah, so congrats to Brandon Phillips on a hell of a career. We're excited for him.
Yeah.
So now let's get to our baseball at the movies segment. I know we're both very excited for this one. This is a movie we have mentioned before. This week's movie, Matt, is The Sandlot, an
I
all-time kids baseball movie classic.
I love this movie.
Yes, it's so good. It's so good. Well, you probably already know our ratings before we even get to this, but let's summarize it real quick. The Sandlot was released in 1993. It stars Tom Geary as Scotty Smalls, Mike Vitar as Benjamin Franklin Rodriguez, Art LaFleur as the Babe, Dennis Leary as Bill, the dad of Scotty Smalls, and James Earl Jones, who we've seen before in Field of Dreams, appearing as Mr. Myrtle in this movie. The quick one sentence summary from IMDb. In the summer of 1962, a new kid in town is taken under the wing of a young baseball prodigy and his rowdy team, resulting in many adventures.
That's a pretty good way to put this movie.
Yeah, that's saying it. That's saying it lately.
Yeah.
Um, a couple other, or one thing I do want to point out, I mentioned that James Earl Jones was also in Field of Dreams, and so was Art LaFleur. In both films, the late Art LaFleur played a legendary baseball player who is long since dead, but who appeared only to the main character, which I think is interesting.
That is interesting. That's like a whole genre of movies that you can do.
Art LaFleur, your ghost baseball player
Yeah, exactly.
extraordinaire. Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Um, well, you can go first.
Okay.
I mean we're both not hiding our excitement about this movie.
Right, right. You probably know our rating already. Well, as we've said, I love this movie. I think it does a really great job of leaning into that childhood nostalgia, the mystique of gathering your friends and going to play a baseball game, which I don't know how much that happens anymore in this day and age. Kids have a lot more things to play with and a lot more activities and things like that. But I love how they really draw on like, oh, there is this mythical creature, and he's gonna get you if you get close to him, and they really play that up, and then it's just a dog. It's just a big dog. But I love how you don't know that until like the end of the movie. It
Yeah.
it keeps you enthralled, and you're like, oh my God, like is this thing gonna work to get the baseball, or is this method gonna work, or what's gonna happen? And I mean, it just has some all-timers in terms of lines. You're killing me, Smalls. I mean, that's an all-time classic. When Scotty Smalls questions who the babe is, they're like, what? What? Oh, I thought you said the great Bambi.
Yeah.
That wimpy deer. But like honestly, just a great cast. You see some of these actors later on in other things. Squints, Chauncey Leopardi, he was in Freaks and Geeks
Mhm.
afterwards. I'm trying to think who else from this
Dennis Leary
movie.
would have a really
That
career after
yeah,
this.
this was Dennis Leary's first movie,
That's
actually.
that's what a first movie.
Why, right? And I'm sure he was just like, oh yeah, whatever, like I'll do this just to get my foot in the door. And yet it's such a memorable movie. And I
Well,
think my favorite sequence in this movie is the 4th of July. When they talk about how like, oh, there's, the neighborhood has a party and it's the only game we can play at night, and they're standing on the field and the fireworks are like you can see the reflection of the fireworks off of their faces. I just think it just brings you back to those moments as a kid where you're like, this is such a fun game, and like, and it brings back all that nostalgia, and I just think they do such a great job with it. And it's so memorable. I personally we had a TV in our van growing up. This was always chosen. I always brought the Sandlot on like every road trip. I always wanted to watch it. I think I identified with the characters and just like trying to find your place in the world, like Scotty Smalls' character was so much. And it just really speaks to a kid. And like if you want to get a kid into baseball, I think this is a great way to do it, is to show them this movie. Even and it's aged extremely well because it takes place in the 60s. So you're not expecting it to be like super technologically advanced or like a lot of CGI or anything like that.
yeah,
What are your
it takes
thoughts on it?
place. It takes place in the '60s, but I couldn't help but like just feel so '90s about it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
like it is one of the quintessential '90s movies, and yet it's a period piece in the '60s. And like I always kind of forget that aspect, and then I watch it. It's like, oh right, it takes place in the '60s. So it really just does have this timeless feel. You hit the nail on the head, and it's funny you mentioned the Fourth of July sequence. Again, I feel like we've screwed up a couple of our movies that we like have watched. Like we should have watched 42 last week for Jackie Robinson Day. We probably should have just saved this for Fourth of July because
Yeah.
it's such a perfect Fourth of July movie. And actually, my wife Sarah, when I said this was our movie this week, she's like, "Oh well, I want to watch that over Fourth of July." We still will probably because
Oh yeah.
why not? No, I really love this for all the reasons you said. I think this is one of those brilliant movies, brilliant coming of age movies that instead of just being about baseball, it uses baseball as its backdrop to
Hmm.
tell a more important story. And that is one of my favorite genres when you use something like baseball as the storytelling, you know,
The
partner
vehicle.
vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it's great. My favorite, honestly, the ending is probably my favorite thing. I love I love the little descriptions of everybody. I love I forget who it is, but it's like so and so fell in love with the '60s and we never saw them again.
Bertram.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so that's great. And then just the flash forward to Benny on the Dodgers and seeing the three balls in the broadcast booth and the thumbs up. It's just magical.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely magical. And you're right. This is a great movie to show kids, to get them into baseball, to give them some life lessons, and what an absolute joy it was to watch this again. It,
Yeah.
it's great. Yeah, I mean, again, everyone knows our ratings. 5 big fat Italian beefs out of 5. It doesn't get much better than this, especially kids movies. And I think we've done 3 out of the 4 like 90s baseball kids movies. This is the best one. I mean,
Oh yeah.
this is
Yeah. It's not even close.
the others are fun. They're really corny. This one has its corny moments, of course, but like this has so much heart that that's why it's still a timeless classic.
Exactly. It makes you long for like the past in a
Yeah.
way. And I think it does a good job of that. Yeah, my brother recently showed this to my 4-year-old nephew, and now he refers to every dog he sees as the Beast because of
Yeah.
this movie. But
Well,
he's also super, yeah.
do you remember us like in our neighborhood group like going around playing wiffle ball in the backyards with like a few of those people? Like that's what just it brought me back to.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's the best. Just going outside, catching up with your friends, riding bikes, and getting into some mischief occasionally.
Yeah, occasionally.
Yeah. No, it's a great movie. He's definitely more interested in baseball now because of watching it. So yeah, if you're looking to get your child into baseball, show them the Sandlot first, and I guarantee that'll be a good first step. But yeah, so that's what we got for the Sandlot. My rating is the same as Matt's. It's a 5 out of 5 Italian beefs. Like no notes, as the Gen Z kids say. They
And my wife Sarah also gives it 5 Italian beefs, by the way.
There we go.
She wanted
Perfect. So 5 out of 5 Italian beefs across the board. So stay tuned next week as we will be reviewing the more modern classic Moneyball, which I would say is one of the more recent good baseball movies that has been released over
which
the
is
past
kind of
decade.
sad because it's
Yeah,
15 years old.
right. I know. It's sad. Yeah, that's why we need more good baseball movies, which hopefully we'll get some here. But yeah, so next week we'll be reviewing the Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill hit Moneyball here on the Crosstown Baseball Podcast. So I know we're both looking forward to that. But that will do it for this week's episode. We really appreciate everyone tuning in. Make sure to give us a follow, like, subscribe on YouTube and Spotify. That helps us, get our ratings up and make us visible to more people. Also, give us a follow on Facebook and Instagram at Crosstown Baseball Podcast. Feel free to reach out to us anytime with any questions or any show ideas that you want us to debate. So that'll do it for this week's episode. We will see you all again next week. Thank you all so much again for joining in, and you've been listening to the Crosstown Baseball Podcast. Thanks so much again. Go Cubs.
Go Sox.